Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video, a brand new review. I'm actually a big fan of Fear of God, specifically the Essentials line, because, well, I can afford it. Now, as far as Converse goes, I'm a little bit less of a fan just because they're not that comfortable. I know that they're a classic, and I know that they're one of the most popular shoes out there, but I just find them a little bit bland. So really, when it comes to this pair of sneakers, I'm looking for a big improvement in the comfort department and just something that gets me going in terms of how they look and feel. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the pair of sneakers I have for you today, and that is the Converse and Fear of God Skid Grip High. And we have the box. Okay, so we got a pretty regular box. So you got the Essentials text on the front, which is basically a little bit of a, I don't know if I would say knockdown version of the Fear of God, but it is the cheaper version of the Fear of God line. If you don't know, Fear of God, traditionally speaking, is a very expensive footwear and clothing brand. So their Essentials line is just their more affordable pieces, and that comes in joggers, sweatshirts, jumpers, t-shirts, shorts, you name it. And now we're getting the Essentials with this Converse collaboration. So of course you have the giant Converse text on the front, and you have your sizing tag and everything on the side. So let's whack them out, and we have the Converse Fear of God Skid Grip High. In the box, you get an extra pair of laces. So that's good to note. They're not true white, so the extra pair that you get is a cotton version. They're completely different styles towards the kind of rope style lacing that you get straight on the shoe. So you'll see these are kind of the flat style laces. They come in pretty much a sail color, as opposed to this true white color straight out the box. Now, just looking at this shoe, it almost seems like this is probably one of the most perfect collaborations I've seen. Just basically because you really see the Fear of God, but at the same time, you really see the Converse. It's like everything that they've put together from these two brands into this shoe is just perfectly represented in this silhouette. And that's down to everything, the shape, the feel, the materials. It's just literally such a perfect collaboration. I'd say the most different part about this is the print and the crazy amount of colors that you get on this shoe. Traditionally speaking, Fear of God has a little bit more of a toned down palette, a lot of suede, a lot of earth tones, but something this crazy and vibrant, I think, looks really good on this silhouette. This print, all of these colors and everything that you find on the upper of this sneaker is something from Jerry Lorenzo himself. Jerry Lorenzo, the owner of Fear of God, mentioned that this print was specifically inspired by his childhood back in the 80s, and just generally things to do with surfing and skateboarding and the things that he loved when he was a child. Just by looking at it, I don't think you can necessarily really make anything of it. I'm sure whatever this print represents is pretty close to Jerry Lorenzo himself, and not necessarily something that you can directly see from just looking at the shoe. However, just the colors in general are a pretty retro vibe, if you ask me. So essentially this shoe looks very, very similar to the Fear of God 101 sneaker. And at the same time, it looks very, very similar to the Converse All-Star. And essentially these two mashing together, I mean, it looks like this has just always existed and this was just kind of made to be. But there are a lot of elements that are taken from both of these shoes to make, I think, quite a good looking pair of shoes. So for the upper, it is completely made up of this canvas material. This canvas material is something that is used in all Converse All-Stars. However, what you are missing is the rubber toe cap, which normally sits right here at the front. And I'm actually pretty happy about that. I think it looks a lot more sleek without it, and I think, just generally speaking, a little bit better. This canvas material extends around the entire shoe, and that's exactly what this tongue is made out of as well. As I said in the beginning, the laces are solid white and they come in this very rope style lacing system, and you'll kind of see the construction of this is a little bit more signature to the Fear of God sneakers, where it's a very close together beginning piece and it kind of opens up as this V as you get to the top of the shoe. So this kind of aesthetic design is a little bit more Fear of God, and that's where you can kind of see that coming in. Of course, like I said, this tongue, which I mean, it's probably one of the most annoying things that I found when wearing a Converse Chuck Taylor, and that is just that it is literally this tiny flimsy little bit of fabric which always seems to either flip over to the side or just scrunch up as you're wearing and just generally speaking tying this shoe. So I really don't like the flimsy tongue at all. However, you'll be glad to know that there is some padding around that ankle area. So we're finally getting something which is going to contribute to the comfort, whereas on a normal Chuck Taylor, it would just be that same canvas material. It's not the most comfortable thing when you just have straight up canvas material for that ankle area. So I am very happy to say that that is a big improvement or addition to this pair, which I really, really like. Now, if you look towards the midsole, you'll see it is a very smooth, very sleek looking Fear of God-esque midsole. You can see, I guess it takes some inspiration again from both the Chuck Taylor and Fear of God itself. This general construction, which is exactly what you find on a Converse All-Star, is very strange on foot because this is so heavy at the bottom. It's essentially just a huge chunk of rubber with this very flimsy canvas material on top. Now, as you move over to the traction pattern, it's pretty sleek. It stays with this herringbone style traction pattern. As you look around the edges, you have these tiny little Converse logos in text all the way around the traction pattern. Now, if we're talking sizing, comfort, and how they generally feel on foot, what type of fit are you getting? Okay, I'm gonna say that these are a knock above a regular Converse All-Star. They do feel a little bit more comfortable, mainly because of the padding around the ankle area. Also, I feel like the thicker midsole makes it just a little bit more comfortable, or maybe it's the insole. Either way, it's just more comfortable than a regular Chuck Taylor, but that's not really saying much. In my opinion, the Converse Chuck Taylor is pretty uncomfortable, and especially when you're getting all of these crazy sneakers nowadays which have the latest and greatest in terms of cushioning technology, when you go back to something which is a more of a retro sneaker, they haven't really evolved, and you don't really want them to evolve. That's how they are. They are supposed to be appreciated for their original condition, so you don't really want to start adding newer stuff to it. You want the retro vibes to be the retro vibes and to stay in that lane. So I really can't knock points off for it being uncomfortable. I understand it's something like a Jordan 1. You don't really want to add anything complicated to it. You just want it to be that retro style. Even if it is a little bit uncomfortable, if you truly appreciate the model, I'm sure you're willing to bear with it. Sizing is surprisingly true to size, because when I looked at this sneaker, it just looked long, and I thought I maybe got a size up or something, but I feel like that is just generally the construction of this shoe. It just makes it look very sleek and very long. It's a sneaker that you'll kind of find your money's worth. I don't think it's the most comfortable shoe out there. I think it could possibly be a contender for one of the most uncomfortable shoes out there. But there is a lot to say about how these two really cool brands coming together to create something which just seems like it was meant to be. But that pretty much wraps it up for my thoughts on the Converse and Fear of God collaboration on this Skid Grip High. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about these down in the comment section below. And like always, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next video. But until then.